1-0 Morocco in the game. Ismael Saibari with a wonderful early goal to get things going. But the Scots were cheered on by their fans and worked their way back into the game. It was an entertaining second half. The Scots gave it all they could towards the end, but couldn't quite find the equaliser. As we welcome you into the studio, Adam Hunt, we're with Ian Joy and Jen Beattie. Not quite the result that two Scots wanted. I'm not going to say what the Englishmen felt about that result. I'll come to Ian first because you're coughing a little bit, Jen, there. We'll give you a second. Let's start with Morocco. I'm told this is the first time that an African nation has won 6 group games in a World Cup in a row.
Yep.
They started this run, obviously, in the last World Cup, making it all the way to the semi-finals. And it hasn't been vintage stuff so far, a draw against Brazil and only a 1-0 win against Scotland. But they are proving themselves to be a very, very difficult team to beat. They are winning games. They are not necessarily making it look easy, though, right? Second half, there was a few nervous moments there from Morocco. I don't want to take anything away from the fact that they've won, right? This is a big win for them. And I do think that you look at the two players who have linked up once again. Saibari gets the goal. Brahim Diaz creates, similar to what we witnessed in the first match day as well. That was pretty spectacular, and I think that's only the second time in World Cup history that that's happened, where it's been assist and goal score connecting on match day 1 and match day 2 by a score of 1-0. Germany were the other team way back in the 90s. Listen, I just think that what I've learned from this performance is Scotland's got a lot of heart, but little quality in the final third, while Jen's struggling here to get a drink here. Someone get Jen some water!
Or a whiskey.
Get her a whiskey.
Or a whiskey after that performance.
A nice sweet scotch.
What I've learned here, Adam, is that this Morocco side are not as good as we probably think they are. I thought coming into this competition, they might be the first team from Africa to win a FIFA World Cup. But what I wanted to say was that they are not that good. They're a team that huff and puff, get themselves a goal, then sat back. They had 2 shots on target. From a team with that much immense quality, actually Scotland in the second half were by far the better team with no quality. As mentioned already before, no shots on target from Scotland is very disappointing. But Scotland looked a better team in the second half. But not so much.
And we spoke about it at half-time, didn't we, Jen, that this game followed a similar pattern, although they didn't concede an equaliser, to the Brazil game. They scored a good early goal, a lot of attacking intent starting out, and to their credit, they scored an early goal. Not every team can do that. But then after that, really did let Scotland back into it. And as Ian rightly says, the second half was mostly Scotland. I can't really remember too many good opportunities from Morocco at all.
Yeah, and you start to think, is that because Scotland had more confidence and started to throw more players up further up the pitch? They started to press Morocco much higher. I thought the way they offsetted towards Morocco's right-hand side was brilliant, winning the ball higher up the pitch. But really, Morocco started to get really frustrated. I think it was Riyad towards the end of the game, so frustrated with his forward players not putting enough pressure onto Scotland, constantly allowing that ball into the box, the long balls, and getting deeper and deeper. And I've been there as a centre-back when it's getting deeper and you're struggling to create up the other end. But I think for me, it's credit to Scotland. Everything we said at half-time about having confidence, composure on the ball, performance-wise for Scotland, that was miles away from where they were at against Haiti.
Look at this comment we've had in on YouTube, and keep them coming in, by the way. We'll read the best ones out. Big step back for Scotland and Ian. Please switch legs. It's far too early for that. Far too early for that. This is a family TV show. In terms of the Scotland side of things, is this cause for not celebrating a defeat, but a cause for confidence that they were able to work themselves back into the game to give them the belief that they can at least potentially get something against the great Brazil in Miami?
Yeah, I mean, listen, they take a lot of hope and a lot of confidence from this performance. Disappointment that they didn't have a shot on target in this game. Maybe I question, and I'm intrigued to hear what Jen thinks about the team selection here, because when Dykes was on the field, there was a real presence there compared to what Shea Adams was doing. Sort of a lot of huff and puff, but no real opportunity in front of goal. Never really made an impact body to body either. As a centre-back, you'd probably be happy with that. Shea Adams just running and doing doggies. Whereas Dykes comes on and he's actually making some sort of connection, laying off the ball to midfielders, and allowed Gannon Dokes, who came off the bench, to utilise his pace 1v1. On that right-hand side, it got better. But also in midfield, by the way, Christie got forward more frequently. Lewis Ferguson got forward more frequently. We actually started to see a little bit more belief from Scotland in that second half, where maybe there was some nerves out there in that first half that they didn't really play their best football. And that's what can happen in major tournaments. Sometimes you can shy away. Listen, I don't want to just obviously put it all to Scotland, because Morocco did win this game and they deserved to win the game. They had a couple of shots on target. Maybe lucky they didn't get a second goal with the freak deflection off the crossbar early in that second half. But I think we should be quite pleased with that Scottish performance. There's a lot to take from it. But the team selection, Jen, maybe Clarkey should have gone with a different starting 11?
I could definitely see a different forward. I think Dykes, when he came into it, his presence, the way, his ability to hold the ball up and bring more players onto
He's
the
a disruptor, isn't he? He disrupts defenders.
Yeah, I think as a centre-back, Che Adams, I think, you know, players were getting in front of him quite easily. He was losing the aerial battle. Dykes comes onto it, and again, you think about it, Scotland were pushing more players up the pitch, so Dykes obviously had more players to combine with and more players around him to kind of support in that sense. I don't know if it was just the way Steve Clarke had planned the game to go out, to be honest. Maybe first half grow into it and know you have the pace of Gannon Doak to come off the bench and inject that intensity. For me, it was a much better performance. Scotland have to have that mindset that going into Brazil, which I'm sure they will. They will finish this game on a high. Obviously, that's a loss, but I don't necessarily think it will feel like that. I think performance-wise, they were miles away from where they were against Haiti. Intensity, confidence on the ball, composure. It was just that final third. We talk about final third so much in football, but when you see teammates bumping into each other, pushing each other, you know, taking opportunities away from, that's that communication piece that everyone... For me, I think it's brilliant that they have the confidence to go and do it.
Yeah.
But that's that small
They've got to be more clinical, haven't they? They have to be more. I mean, you remember the McGinn goal against Haiti was, what, 4 or 5 deflections before it went in? That wasn't a clinical finish, and we didn't see anything in this game either. That has got to be something that they've got to try and improve.
Spot on, Adam. And I think Jen said it perfectly right there. Also, maybe just a little bit criticism from me towards Scott McTominay, a bit selfish at times. A couple of times, I don't blame him. Listen, he's got the ability to win football games and obviously get the national team back into games, and some of the goals that he scored is spectacular. But there's a couple of times where he could have just simply laid the ball off there. I think it was Christie or McLean who was arriving into the box at the right time. He should have laid off, didn't even lift his head up to see him there. And then there was another one where Lyndon Dykes was just standing right in front of him. Sorry to spread my legs here, but lay the ball off. And if he lays the ball off perfectly, there's a simple strike from Dykes. And sometimes the desperation just creeps in a little bit too much. Selfishness takes over from players like McTominay, which is OK, but you've got to do the business.
And again, small margins, but in moments there was just that extra touch that was taken that in a major tournament you don't have the time to do that. And I think that'll be another reflection that they'll have going into the Brazil. Take a shot. We saw what happened with John McGinn. Massive deflection. It might go in. Just get a shot away.
Back to Morocco, just really, really quickly, and a comment we've had in there from Forever Young 9235, if I can read that correctly. Beattie is a boss in midfield. You mentioned him at half-time, didn't you, Jen? He had a wonderful game, as he did in the first game.
I keep saying, for someone with such a young age, showing that level of maturity and just awareness. When you're watching him, he's constantly spinning. He knows exactly where the space is. He drifts into that, receives everything on a half-turn, just constantly looking to combine that from the back line to the front. And I've loved watching him play. Just dictates midfield from back to front. And when you've got a player like Diaz ahead of you that can be that little bit more creativity, you can just be the steadier on the pitch. He looks like he plays really simply, but it's that football IQ that I think you need to know when to drop into a back line, when to get a little bit higher, when to move out of the space. That constant interchanging movement. They just read each other really well, the Moroccan team, but he was at the heart of it for me.